Financial Freeway. My name is David Jowett. I'm the man rocking the Ray-Bans, and today I have gotten back to the gym. I took a couple of weeks off, and what I noticed was there's a lot of intense stress around me pulling off this convention. And more of it is because there's a lot of people depending on me. There's a big price tag if things go bad. But also, I've never done this before. And to be quite honest with the 6 listeners I have, I've actually not been to a lot of conventions. So that's kind of a thing as well. I've only attended a few conventions, but my intention in the beginning, my hope in the beginning, was that I was going to be able to do something for the community, something for the local magic community here by bringing an international convention to the city. And what ended up happening, of course, was it didn't turn out the way I wanted. And I think it's funny. I think the reason a lot of things go wrong in life, not just in making conventions, but in life, is when people have the wrong idea of what your intentions are. And I think some people were like, well, Dave's intention was to make money. And they don't realize, which I think is kind of funny and a little ironic, they don't realize that my intention rarely is to make money. I mean, don't get wrong. I mean, money's important and it's important to make it. But I'm true to my word when I say my intention is to bring in recognition and funds for the local magic community. It wasn't to line my pocket so much as it was to what are you doing here? Wasn't oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, I thought this guy was crossing the street. Okay, I'm gonna go around this guy. I had no idea this guy was gonna be riding on the road, in the middle of the road, with his funky bike. So anyways, if people feel your intentions are self-motivated and self-driven, then they're gonna act a certain way. And I think if people really truly realize that my intention was to provide for the club, the local club, I think it would have had more help. I think it would have had more people on board. But the reality is I'm in it alone, and it kind of stresses me out a little bit too about that. To the point that made me sign paperwork to make sure that they're not on the hook for any of this stuff. It's kind of upsetting that I was disconnected so harshly. But that it's because of these things that there's that added stress, and this is what that stress that I'm talking about is. So I've been slowly going through and navigating it, and as I'm doing this, I'm watching the show called Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland, and kind of running out of things to watch on Netflix. Starting to wonder if I need that subscription service anymore. And anyways, I've started watching this. It's actually not a bad show. It's actually pretty great. But the funny thing is one of the things that I noticed about him as stepping up as president is he's making decisions like this. He's dealing with so much added stuff, so much of the extra stuff going on in his life, taking over the role of president. And within a week, all these things are happening, and he's just got to make these snap decisions. And there's a point where someone says, are we dealing with this right now? And he turns to the buddy and goes, no, we're going to deal with things one thing at a time. And he says, when do we ever deal with things one thing at a time? And that's the stress that has been added on, that I took on because of the convention. It's not one thing at a time. It's a lot of things happening all simultaneously. It's a lot of complaints, a lot of confusion, a lot of questions need answered, a lot of moving parts. But I think that's where the success lies. That's where the abundance lies. It lies in those places where people don't want to take on those kind of roles, where there's a lot of stress and a lot of confusion, a lot of things going on, people shy away from that stuff. And if you are able to take on those things, and the first couple times you're gonna fail, you're probably gonna fail if you start taking on a lot of things. But as you start to learn, be able to manage multiple things going on all at the same time, the more you can do that, the more successful you're going to be, the more you get compensated for it. And that's really kind of the gist of it when it comes to, when you think about when you get higher up in management, dealing with these problems, like the CEO of a company, the more problems you're dealing with and the more problems you're able to deal with without falling apart, the more you get compensated for it. So if you're in a situation where there's not a lot of help, and there's a lot of stress and a lot of confusion and anxiety, that a lot of the times is going to be rewarded with profit, and it's going to be rewarded with compensation. So embrace it, enjoy it, make it a part of what it is. It's never fun to be crazy stressed out by situations, but it is a valuable thing, and like I said, you will get compensated by it. But that's not what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about today, the thing I was ruminating on about what I would talk about, was the failure, the idea of failure, and recreating yourself, and how to keep moving forward in the event of a failure. You think about it, anything in life, and I was thinking about this because I play this game on my phone. I play a few games on my phone. I play chess, I play Sudoku, I play crib. I love playing crib. And I play this other game, and it's called Bricks Ball Crusher. And it's this really cool game where you shoot a ball over these bricks and you knock them down, and you have to clear the board. And there's patterns and there's ways to do it. And the more you play, the longer you play, the more challenging the game gets. The patterns get to try and beat. And I'm working on one now, and I've been working on it for weeks. And it's because it's a challenging game. But every time I work on it, every time I start up the game and I play, I fail, I lose. But I was thinking about that in respects to life. If you got into a game that you could win every single time, it would bore you. It would bore you to tears. And then if you got into a game that was really challenging, in order to actually get to the next level, you have to learn how the game works. You're going to have to learn different strategies. And that along the way is going to be failure. Think about the first time you played chess. That's a game I love to play as well. And I fail often in that, and I'm okay with it. I never actually get too upset about failure with regards to playing chess, because I know that each time I play, I'm getting a little bit smarter about what my next strategy is going to be. So it's important to understand that when you're moving through life, that failure is a part of the process. Let's talk to somebody else about bad relationships. In an abusive relationship, the person who needs to leave the relationship for whatever reason usually goes back 8 times. And they actually work that into the program when they're trying to help people that have to leave relationships that aren't working out. Normally, when they don't work out, they go back a couple of times. Same with addiction. You go and, very few people can say, okay, I'm not ever going to drink again, and never drink again. Very few people. They need help. And with that, there's relapses. There's failure built into the program, because I recognize that that's part of the process. That's part of the process when learning a game. That's part of the process when going to the gym. That's part of the process with dieting. It's part of the process with life. But we are so hard on ourselves when it comes to failure. We're so ready to beat ourselves up if we fail at anything. But we really need to understand that failure is part of the process. And as you fail, you're gonna learn a different strategy. A great example of this is that movie Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise. I always freaking love movies that have to do with time loops and time travel and things like that. But I really loved Edge of Tomorrow because his whole thing was he had to get it right. He kept going back. It was a whole groundhog scenario. And every time he went back into his loop or his cycle, he learned how to be a slightly better soldier or whatever. And he kept learning how to beat the enemy by going through every time. So on the first one, he fails right away. Second one, he fails right away. And this goes on for a while, but then he starts to realize that, hey, there's something going on here. And I think I can actually learn from these failures. And then he gets really good, really amazing at killing these enemies to the point where it becomes like, who is this super guy? And it's all about that whole failing, learning to fail, crash, wash, rinse, lather, rinse, repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. And that's really what it is. And every time he comes back, he's learned something more from the failures of the past. And that's kind of what we need to do as people that are striving for success and abundance. We really need to learn from our mistakes. If we make a mistake, if we want to, and this is, again, it goes back to where do you want to be? If you want to be somewhere and you're going in a direction, you have to learn from the mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, learn from them, but keep moving in that same, if you keep going back to the game, if you keep hitting reset and you keep, regenerating in that spot or respawning, you keep doing that and you're going to get better and better at anything you're doing. Anything. When I started, oh my gosh, when I started doing card magic, and when I say card magic, I mean real magic, because I was doing card tricks when I was really young, but when I started doing the sleight of hand stuff as I got older, my hands were dumb, sloppy, I was flashing, everyone could see what I was doing, people were always telling me that they saw the move. It was heartbreaking, but I kept at it, I kept doing it, I kept going at it, and now I have really tightened up those skills, really honed them in, and I'm very proud of my success. It all comes from failure. That's the key, folks. It is get up, fall down, get up again, and just keep doing that. Keep doing that until eventually you don't fall down. And keep doing that until eventually you take a couple steps forward and you start to realize, okay, this is success. This is what it looks like. And you got to start getting a couple of W's in your column, and it starts to feel really good. But failure's part of the game, folks. Embrace it. Don't be afraid of failure. Of course, strive for perfection and strive to always be bettering yourself, but don't beat yourself up because you fail, because that's part of the program. It's part of the process. That's part of the journey. Anyways, folks, I'm going to leave it there. I didn't mean to go on so much about the original topic, first topic, but thank you so much for watching. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Also, subscribe. It doesn't hurt you and does nothing but good things for me. Thank you so much. I want to thank Callum for watching. I got a little note from Callum saying he's been watching. I appreciate that. Love you, brother. And, of course, check out financialfreeway23.ca. I try to keep the videos really current on that, but regardless, the archive stuff is really, really solid stuff. There's really great stuff in there. There's some tips on saving. There's some tips on investing. But remember, not financial advice. Talk to a professional. And of course, we've got the commuter MBA program on there, where I've gone through and got all the books you need to read to get your master's of business on your commute to work. I mean, how great is that? You're going to get a free education. Almost free, for the cost of an Audible subscription, you get a master's program. I think that's pretty cool. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. Remember to spread the word. That's important, because we want everyone in the world to understand that they have an inalienable right to live a life of happiness and abundance. Thanks so much wherever you are in this great, big, beautiful world. God bless.